Hi, my name is Jakob, and in the next 5 minutes I will talk about research that I'm doing. But first of all, because this is the Digital Humanities in the Nordics and Baltics conference, I thought I'd choose an appropriate location, so I'm coming straight to you from a snowy Swedish forest. What I'm really interested in are disputes between religions. And whenever you have these, you have to have some kind of truth you're referring to. And most of the time, that's a book or something that is written in a book. And you have to point to that in order to be right. And of course, if you're arguing between religions, you have shared reference points and shared books. Christianity, for example, is claiming the Torah as as the Old Testament as part of its tradition, and Islam is claiming that the Gospel and the Old Testament are basically preliminary stages of the Quran. So you will be referring to shared reference points and to shared works all the time. And scholars spend a lot of time figuring out these references, and they write about it in books and editions. But these identifications of references have certain limits. They cannot be updated usually. They point towards the past most of the time and not towards the future. They have limited space and they can be rather vague in total. So could we fix this in a way? And my proposal is to establish a controlled vocabulary, an ontology, to record references and reuse. I'm doing this specifically in Christian-Muslim religious encounters. And to spice it up and to find out more, I want to align these connections with the argumentative function they're serving and with the argumentative topics and create a knowledge base that contains such knowledge. And this is the ideal workflow we might be facing in the end, working towards. We annotate texts using our categories, we put it into knowledge base, and there we see how argumentative parts float between texts, arguments, and times. And eventually, if we can analyze this, we might capture something that we might call argumentational drift. How does the whole discourse change over time with arguments floating about? To create an ontology to record this, I'm of course using existing models, most importantly the LRM00, which is a harmonization of CDOC-CRM and IFLA LRM, but I'm also building on projects like the Hypermedia Dante network and sharing ancient wisdoms. So please check them out if you're interested in that. My first case study and the texts that I'm first studying are Ricoldo da Monte di Croce's Contra Legem Saracenorum. He was a missionary in the 13th century. The works that he's using and later works that are using him. He was highly influential. It goes very far into the world, and so it's very interesting to see the connections there. But this is my case study, but there's a broader research community working on similar topics. And one could claim that the moment is right to involve them somehow. There's a very large ERC synergy project, the UQ. There's publications coming out, for example, in the Corpus Islamo-Christianum. And there's a research group in Barcelona, Islama Latina. So how can we get them involved? And first, we have to get them motivated somehow. And it could be motivating that one can use this database for one's own research to make finding connections easier. One can find other person's research and be found. One can share knowledge, and I think this is a vital point that one could not share otherwise, that you would lose in your notes somehow, and of course make research interoperable. And so this is the main part that I'm thinking about right now, and that I would appreciate feedback on, how to get in touch well with the research community and do something communal. And these are the 4 steps I thought about. First, sensibilize. So make people aware of the fact that structured data can be used and reused by others. We want to discuss the ontological categories together, so it becomes a shared conceptualization. We might not have to create all knowledge anew, but use existing one. But finally, the great crown jewel would be to create new knowledge together. So in case you want to chat about ontologies and structured vocabularies, if you want to learn more about my work, which would be super flattering, if you want to share experience, if you just like snowy forests, or if you want to have a virtual coffee, just write to me in this conference or send me an email. I'd be super happy. Goodbye.